There is a massive, massive game in Tuscaloosa this weekend, and it is one that was an all-out war last year in Austin, and that is the home-and-home series between Texas and Alabama. For those watching tonight's show wondering why Georgia and Oklahoma aren't playing when these two teams are playing, it's because this is the completion of the home-and-home series, and they don't start the SEC slate until next year. Georgia would not have completed their home-and-home slate until next year. Okay, so that's why Georgia's home-and-home series got nixed, and this one did not. On to this football game. Like I said, these two teams were in an absolute war last year in week 2 of the season, a war that was kind of cut down and cut short by Quinn Ewers suffering a shoulder injury midway through the second quarter of that football game.
I thought it was like the second drive.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was I think, start of the second quarter. They had played a little bit of football. We had been knowing that it was getting ugly between Texas and Alabama, or was going to. It was on the near verge of doing that before he suffered that shoulder injury. Bryce Young manages to put together and summon 20 points as an offense together. They come out with a 20-19 victory. In that football game, Alabama had 15 penalties for 100 yards. Alabama threw the ball almost 40 times, 39 passing attempts to just 24 runs, despite the fact that on those 24 runs, Alabama averaged 6.7 yards per attempt, okay? And we have some questions about this Texas football team, okay? Of course, we have questions about this year's Texas football team. They played really, really well up front last year. They created a bunch of chaotic pockets. They forced some really tough looks and tough throws and some tough checkdowns by Bryce Young. They did a fantastic job last year against the Alabama football team that was presented to them. They really did. It's part of the reason, in terms of their ability to limit Bryce Young, it's part of the reason why he had the fewest amount of yards per attempt all year last year in this football game. He threw it 39 times for 215 yards. Not exactly great results from this football team. A lot of that was because of the chaotic pockets, like I said, that they were able to create. Only sacked him twice, but they were in his grill the entire football game. But that was the Alabama football team last year that was hyper dependent upon Bryce Young. I just gave you the stats. They threw it 39 times in that game, despite the fact that on the only 24 times that they rushed the football, they were averaging almost 7 yards per carry. Those stats say they should be running the damn ball, Bert. That's what they say. But they were hyper dependent upon the pass game last year, and they will not be that this year. They will not be. We know that. They've been talking about this all offseason. They want to run the ball. They have a quarterback that's going to help them run the ball. They run the ball effectively. They will run the football effectively on Saturday. They are hyper dependent upon running the football effectively on Saturday, and they did that effectively last year. They just got away from it way too many times. Bottom line, here it is. Show me. That's what we talked about with Texas. Show me. This is a show me network. Show me right now, Texas, that you can show up in big football games. Show me, Texas, that you can win tight football games. Until then, we don't pick you. We pick against you every single time until you show me on this network. So we're going with Alabama in this football game. I also think Nick Saban has had a plethora, or will have a plethora, of new ideas and new ways to confuse Quinn Ewers. I think a lot of people forget that was Quinn Ewers' first real big start and first real big unveiling of what he is, right? So as a defense, we don't really know what to prepare for. We don't really know what this guy has issues with. We don't know what gives this guy problems. We don't. It was very similar to what Colorado had the advantage that Colorado had this last weekend against TCU. They didn't know. They didn't know what to prepare for. This year, this time, at home, this defense, they're certainly going to have something prepared for Quinn Ewers to give him issues. Final score prediction, Alabama 34, Texas 24. Boys, what do you think about the prediction?
I like it. I think that's probably what it's going to be. I don't see this being a super close game, honestly. I think the fact that not only you're going into Tuscaloosa for this game, it's the fact that you gave Bama such a scare last year, and they're going to be a much more efficient running the football. So,
what do you got, J-Bo?
I really hope it's a good game, because LSU FSU kind of disappointed me a little bit. I want a good one, but yeah, it's these types of games, man. It's like I said, even though I was wrong for the LSU FSU, in these types of games, man, I'm going to lean towards the guy of Nick Saban and the Alabama team that understands and knows how to win these big football games. Whereas Texas, I mean, you haven't proven it. Like you said, you got to show me in this game. It's a big opportunity for them to go into a hostile environment and pull off a win against Alabama, but I just don't see it happening.
Print the shirts. Show me.